Hey guys, Kyle here with Colossus Gaming, and today I wanted to go over a new game I found. The game's called WarZ. It's basically like a zombie survival sort of MMO, kind of horish, I guess you could say. Uh, as you guys know, I play a mod called Daisy, and this game's supposed to be a lot like Daisy. That's why I was drawn to it actually because I love Daisy. But a lot of people are calling it a copy, thinking it's too much alike. I tend to agree with them on that side of things, where it's a lot alike, but I don't see why they should be so upset about this, because if you think about it, almost every game that releases, every MMO that releases nowadays, is the same old generic MMO, and DayZ isn't even a separate game. It's just a mod. And so really, maybe they are copying DayZ, but there's only one other game out there like that. And I think this is good because that game, DayZ isn't even built. Like, Arma 2 is a separate, completely different game, and DayZ just does something that the game wasn't even meant to do. So I think when there's a game that's built from the base meant to do something, I think it will be better. Like, I think all the systems will work better. Now, I see why people call it a copy because it does look a lot alike, but come on, guys, give them a break. I mean, there's one other game out there. It's not even a complete game that does the same thing, and I really think MMOs like this should be more popular on the market, like open world, like PvP, stuff like that. I think it's interesting, fun. It brings new aspects. Um, I looked into it and I decided to buy it. It looks like a polished, more interesting version of DayZ, as I've already said. Now, aside from the fact that I think it will be better than Daisy, and I think it's really not that generic considering there's no other games out there like that other than Daisy, that I've found at least. If I'm wrong, let me know. Uh, it does have its issues. For one, when I look at this game, I don't think Daisy, oh my god, this is going to be so much better than Daisy. When I look at this game, I actually don't know how I feel about it because Daisy, a lot of it's the atmosphere. I don't know if that makes the atmosphere in this game. It's completely different. It seems darker. I can't really explain it. It just doesn't feel the same as Daisy. I mean, almost Daisy's strong suit is how it's not meant to be perfect. Uh, some of the uh, funniness in Daisy is like the glitching zombies that run all over. It just kind of makes the game. It makes it interesting. The fact that you die, you lose all your stuff. I don't know if it's the same in this game. I haven't read that far into it. It's Don't get me wrong. I think I'm gonna love this game, but I'm not gonna say it's gonna be as good as Daisy, to be honest. Um, that being said, I want to go over some of the main features. They call it the first zombie MMO. I really don't necessarily agree with that, but sure, go ahead. It apparently has a huge persistent world, so there's hundreds of servers to play on, I guess, and each zombie game world can have up to 400 square kilometers, which is pretty big if you think about it. Um, there's no classes, no levels, and no level caps. So again, breaking the general generic MMO. That's why it kind of makes me angry that people get so mad at it for taking inspiration off DayZ, because DayZ really is a new generation kind of game, and I think it can succeed. This kind of game can succeed really well. I've played other games that have no classes, no levels, and no level caps, like sandbox games, and they're a ton of fun. Now, a large problem with them is they can get boring and the player drive, uh, like, sometimes it gets repetitive. Not so much repetitive as like you're grinding off stuff, but maybe you're sick of having to collect water every single day. Or I think this game can fix that because of just the all the other sandbox games I've played, they're not really based off the PvE or the PvP. They're just kind of a big world, and it's supposed to be perfectly realistic. I think this fixes that a lot, where it's a lot of it's based off the PvE, so there's a lot of stuff to do. So you can explore, scavenge, kill, and survive. So as again I said, it's open world. Of course you can explore, no crap. Uh, there's other players so you can fight players, you can get loot, you can kill zombies. Pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool to me. And I was talking to one of my friends and he said something about like, so say you have a clan, your clan has its own home server that you can like log on to and do stuff there and then go onto one of the main servers. It doesn't really make much sense to me as of yet. Uh, but I think that might actually ruin the game if they do that, because people will start farming and they might become overpowered. They might even, if the economy is not set up well, if it's an actual working economy, there might be like insane inflation, which doesn't really work well in an MMO because then, yeah, it's confusing. Um, now, guys, I would like to address something else. I've seen a lot of people saying this game's a scam, stuff like that. I think that's just the hardcore DayZ players trying to save their game. It's not a scam, okay? I paid for this game through PayPal. They have my money. Sure, it was $30. I contact PayPal, and the other thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that bought the game. Right, so guys, another thing I constantly have problems with myself, I constantly hear other people have problems with, and I think it is a big thing about a game like this. These games are so orientated off group play, clan play, maybe one friend, two, three, four, playing with them, and it really makes a game like this, trying to survive together. And a big problem I've noticed in DayZ is trying to get up with your friends. Like, so maybe the average lifespan, the average amount I probably live is at about an hour or so, because I'm not that good at it yet. And so say I finally meet up with my friend. It probably took me 20 minutes to get to him. By the time I get to him, I might have some nice gear and stuff. But I almost always end up dying. And it's so hard to meet up with your friends because of the random spawn points. Now, I have heard you will be able to, in WarZ, you'll be able to see your, like, clan mates and stuff on the map. So this will kind of help meet up, but it will still be a problem, I think, and there might be eventually some way to meet up with your friends. I don't know exactly about that yet. Also, another thing was like random events and stuff. So in DayZ, like say there's a helicopter crash, you can go there and get loot and stuff. It's uh, a good place to get loot, or yeah, pretty much helicopter crashes are all there is for that. Now, in WarZ, I hear there's gonna be stuff like that. It's not gonna be like actually happening while you're playing though. Like a helicopter isn't gonna fly out of the sky and crash into the ground. I hear it's gonna be more like, I mean, this is aftermath, so all of this stuff has already happened. You might stumble upon a helicopter with loot at it. So yes, in a way, there's gonna be events like that, which I think is really cool. Now, also a big problem with DayZ is the maps are so huge and there's so many buildings, and only, I would say, 20% of the buildings in the whole entire map are enterable. And it can get kind of annoying, especially when you're looking for stuff and you see a big city and you go over there and there's only 5 buildings you can enter. It gets kind of annoying. Now, of course, the WarZ can't make every single building in the game enterable. That'd be an insane amount of level editing. But I'm guessing, since they have a whole team to work on this, there's going to be a lot more enterable buildings than on DayZ, which I think will help a lot. Now, also the random spawn loot, I don't think it has to be set. I think it just randomly spawns all over in the world. And maybe there's certain like hot spots, like maybe this certain area might spawn this certain loot, or this certain building might spawn this certain loot. So yeah, but it's more randomized than DayZ. Now also in DayZ, one of the most interesting parts, in my opinion, is zombies react to different senses. They react to vision. If you're crouching, they can't see you as easily. If you're standing up, they can see you easier. If you're in bushes, they can't see you as easily. Whereas if you're on a road, they can see you more. They react to sound, which also the same. If you're walking on a road and you're running, you're going to be a lot louder than if you're not. If you're walking in the bushes. So that I thought was really interesting when I first started. Also, like firing a gun. There's different like guns are loud. Some guns are louder and they attract zombies in a bigger area. I really like that about DayZ. I think that's one of its best features, and WarZ is doing this. Zombies will react from smell, vision, and hearing. Now, vision won't be as much as it is in DayZ, because in DayZ that's one of the most annoying things is you could be sneaking past a zombie and he could turn and see you. But really zombies don't have the best vision. So in this game, they're going to fix that by making it more smell and sound. So you'll be able to evade zombies, because say you run behind a corner and you get a decent amount away from them and you just lay down and hide there. They'll probably just walk on past you unless they get too close and smell you, of course. So I think this is really more realistic than DayZ, of course, because again, DayZ is a mod. They're getting about as real as. Now, also another big, 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 probably the biggest thing in DayZ is the loot. This is like my favorite part about the game, because you're constantly running around just looking for stuff. That's pretty much all you do in the game, is run around and look for stuff. That's what I've experienced, and it doesn't get boring. It doesn't get repetitive, because you're just always finding there's so many items that you found an item that you haven't had for 5 days and you're like, oh, this will be really useful, I know what I can do with this. And then you find another item, and every item you find makes survival easier. And I really hope WarZ does this well. I hear there's going to be pretty much the same loot as in DayZ. Ammunition and weapon spawn might be a little bit more realistic. Like, for example, the Lee Enfield is way overpowered, but let's not get into that. I again getting into the part that this is an actual game, not a mod. It's going to be more fine-tuned, so you can expect the loot to be more realistic and more like well suited to the players. Now guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I want to touch on a few more things. Uh, I've I've played a lot of sandbox MMOs. I think this one's going to be really revolutionary to the sandbox MMO market. There's more of a hype about it. There's going to be more of a uh, population on this one, since it's more of a modern theme that people like better, like the whole zombie survival thing with shows like The Walking Dead and stuff like that out. Players are really into shows like that, and I think that's gonna make this game succeed. Players like that. Whereas games like Darkfall or Worm Online, those genres aren't even as close to as popular, and let alone this game has way better graphics. Uh, Sandbox MMO game, basically where the developers create the environment. I've read way into this stuff. Uh, as a sandbox MMO developer, your goal is to make an environment with as many possible options for the player, but leave every single option open. So the player really makes their own story. So you could log in and be like, I want to be a bandit. I'm going to get a gun. I'm going to go kill people and get better guns, and then kill more people and get a base, and then become like get a bandit clan. And there you go. One player might want to be a bandit, or one player might decide, I want to start a militia that goes around and protects players from bandits and zombies and provides players with food who are really in need of it. And next thing you know, the player has 10 people with them, 20 people with them, 30 people with them, all with vehicles and weapons. And I think this is going to be really fun. There's so many opportunities in a game like this when it's so open. The only problem is I hope they didn't leave it too open, where it's open for a week of gameplay, but then it's no longer open, if that makes sense. Whereas it's a loop. Like, a lot of sandbox games are a loop where you play for a week and the next thing you know, you're doing the same thing that you were last week and the same thing you were last week. I hope this game leaves it open enough where you can just, it'll always be something new. Like, I hope this game has enough items and stuff like that that you'll always be able, well, not necessarily always, but you'll be able to find better items for a long time and months of time with it not getting boring and the same old thing every day. If this game can manage that, I think it will succeed. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed recording it. I learned a lot while researching for this video. Remember, if you like my channel, to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next video.